All right, guys. So I'm going to be doing my Ghostbusters Q&A. As I have said, that if you want to be part of these Q&As whenever they pop up, just hit the link in the description box below. Head on over to my Patreon, hit the first tier. That'll allow you access to do so. Um, as well as check out like my episode reviews of Alien Earth and a few other things over there as well. But other than that, I hope you all enjoy this. Yeah, bottom of my heart, thank you guys for everyone who did send in questions. So let's get started. Starting off, we have my good friend, the Mount Vernon Kid. How you doing, Chris? The first question is: Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis wanted Eddie Murphy to play a role in the original film. Assuming he was probably going to play Winston prior to Ernie Hudson got the role of Eddie Murphy, has gone on record to say that he wasn't turned down. He just wasn't available because he was doing Beverly Hills Cop. If he did choose the role, how do you think he would have turned out for him? I think it would have turned out really well. I think Eddie Murphy in Ghostbusters would have been really solid. I really do think it would have been a really cool turnout for him, but then we wouldn't have gotten Ernie Hudson. And I don't think Ernie Hudson would have had the career he has had it not been for getting that opportunity in Ghostbusters. I mean, yes, Ernie Hudson had done other projects before, but like Ghostbusters was his biggest thing, and that's what got his like name in his foot in the door for other projects in the future. So yeah, I would like to see Eddie Murphy in a Ghostbusters movie, but not like maybe a modern Ghostbusters movie. Second question: Though I enjoy the last two films, do you think it would have been cooler if they had taken the approach of Extreme Ghostbusters, where Egon trained a new set of Ghostbusters while the others retired? I think that would have been cool. Sadly, we don't have Harold Ramis, but I think you could have done that same thing and applied it to. I really do think you could have applied that to. What was I going to say? Ray. I think you could have easily done the same thing, but with Ray. He would have been very energetic, and also he's very knowledgeable. I think people forget that while Ray is kind of like the golden retriever of the group, people seem to forget that like he's also pretty smart in his own right. Like he's also a master of the occult as well. So I think you could have done this again, and I'm pretty sure Dan Aykroyd would have been fine with it, honestly. Yeah, so there you go. But yeah, I think it would have been great. I think that would have been a smart move too. Third question: in the Ghostbusters comics that were under IDW, they did an issue where they try to find out what Slimer was in his past life, and find out Slimer was just Slimer. He didn't have a past life. Do you have anything more? Would that have been more interesting or dull if they had given him something? I personally think I'm personally at peace with the idea of Slimer just being Slimer. If I'm being real with everyone, I really do. Sometimes, a box is just a box, or sometimes a duck is just a duck. It doesn't need to be anything else. Not everything needs to be like, some major plot point or major origin story. Not everything can be like Donnie's backstory from Wild Thornberries. So I personally am glad that, like, because I never got to read a lot of the IDW Ghostbusters and now it's nigh on impossible. But yeah, I am glad to know that, like, trying to figure out Slimer's origin turned out to be really nothing. Like, it just turned out to be Slimer's just Slimer. And I'm actually okay with that. I really am. Like I said, sometimes you just gotta have a box just as a box. Anyway, thank you for those questions, Chris. Moving on now to Hunter Johnson, who asks, have you seen the pitch reel for the real Ghostbusters? I don't think I have, honestly. I really do not think I have seen the pitch reel for that for real Ghostbusters. I know I've seen the cartoon, but I've never seen the pitch reel, so I might have to go look that up. Second question: would the Tall Man be a dangerous threat to the Ghostbusters? Yeah, I really like the Tall Man. Really kind of fits into that like big powerhouse villain type character that the Ghostbusters have been known for. And also, like, he's not really a ghost. The Tall Man isn't really a ghost either. He's almost like a, this cosmic entity that exists throughout the multiverse. Yeah, they reveal that in Phantasm 5 Ravager. But the major thing is that the Tall Man does really fit as a Ghostbusters villain. No doubt about it. I have no qualms about him being a villain for the Ghostbusters, and I think he would be absolutely dangerous to them. Third question. What would the Ghostbusters think of the Pines clan from Gravity Falls? I think that Dipper would definitely fit, Egon would be like, Ray, I know you talked about having a youth program, which I detested, but I would recruit him. I also think that Stan and Venkman would just be just trying to outsass one another. The two of them just having back and forths would be hilarious to watch. I genuinely believe that would be fun. But yeah, I think they would probably try to recruit them as future Ghostbusters, if I'm being honest. I think that could actually be a thing. So yeah, I think it would be pretty cool. Anyway, so let's move on now. Thank you for those questions, Hunter. Moving on now to Tom Hibbert, who asks, first question. While Gozer is iconic, and I always liked Vigo from Ghostbusters 2, okay. While Gozer is iconic, I always felt like Vigo from Ghostbusters 2 was a better villain, mainly because he had more of a presence throughout the movie. Gozer only had a few minutes of screen time before she summons the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Who do you think is the better villain? You know, you actually are onto something, Tom. I do think that, Gozer is a cool villain. Gozer is awesome, and you can't deny the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. But Vigo, I am a solid defender of Ghostbusters 2. I vehemently have defended Ghostbusters 2, and I'm sure I'm getting a question about Ghostbusters 2, so I'll go further into thoughts on that. But if I'm being honest, Ghostbusters 2 is not bad. I vehemently defend that movie. Is it perfect? No. It's nowhere near the first one, but is definitely a solid movie. But Ghostbuster, in terms of Ghostbusters villains, Gozer's iconic, but Tom is onto something that Vigo was a villain that you felt his presence throughout the film. He was a credible threat. He was coming to get that kid, no matter what. He was after Oscar, and you felt his presence throughout the movie. Whereas Gozer is just kind of like the endgame boss. And don't get me wrong, she's cool, but Vigo also had his own presence, and he still felt as a threat. I mean, last year, at last year's Halloween Horror Nights, Vigo made a cameo in the Ghostbusters Frozen Empire house. Yeah. So I thought that, I think Vigo's an awesome villain. There are days where I think he might be a better villain than Gozer. But I don't know, it's a tough one at the end of the day, if I'm being honest. It's hard to say. Second question. Do you find it interesting how the real Ghostbusters cartoon had a massive impact on the franchise by giving us Janine and Egon's relationship? Yeah, I do like it. It was way better. One of the few, I know I just said I talked about how much I enjoyed Ghostbusters 2, but one of the things I didn't like was them getting rid of that thing with Janine and Egon. I thought that was dumb, but I liked it here, and I liked how they extended it into Extreme Ghostbusters. I always liked it, and it also made Janine more of a character. The entire series gave Janine way more to do rather than just answer the phones. Hell, she was a Ghostbuster. It was also one of the inspirations as to her becoming a Ghostbusters in Frozen Empire. Yeah. Third question. How much would you love to see a Ghostbusters anime, considering Japan is well known for its ghost? I think that would be really cool. A Ghostbusters anime would be a lot of fun. The problem is I don't know how popular Ghostbusters is in Japan. A Ghostbusters anime would be cool, but I don't want it to be a horror show. Japanese spirits are very terrifying. Japanese ghosts on a whole are just absolute nightmare fuel no matter how you slice it. So you would need something fun. Kind of like the closest we have to a Ghostbusters to a Ghostbusters anime is really Ghost Stories. And if you've ever seen the English dub, you know why I'm saying this. So, yeah, but a Ghostbusters anime I think would be a solid pick. The animation alone would be fun. But I'd like to have it be its own thing. It's not like an anime rendition of the characters like Egon and all that. I want it in the universe. How about that, Sony? How about it? You get on that, Sony. You want this Ghostbusters franchise to be big. Commission you do a lot. You have a lot of hand in animation. yeah, Ghostbusters anime. Have it be like it's a Ghostbusters chapter set in Japan for like this whole Ghostbusters International you wanted to do so bad. There you go, Sony. How about that? How about you work on that? So yeah, I'd like it. So thank you for those questions, Tom. Moving on now to Or Gluzman, who asks, Darren Mooney, escapist Second Wind, was right with the biggest problem with the new Ghostbusters movies is that they take an irrelevant movie and try to make it 100% sincere, treating it dumbest things from the original movie, like a Twinkie, like they're holy relics, without the irony even that the two cartoon show in 2015 remake got, the new Naked movie got in control, is that the movie was a comedy. Those movies needed a good sense of irony. Do you agree with that? Sorry. I don't even know what the hell you're talking about. What the fuck? What the fuck are you trying to say? I don't know. I had to rehydrate because I'm confused. Like, what is the question here? Are you trying to say, like, are you like trying to say that, like, the problem with the last two movies is they take themselves seriously? I think they do at some extent, but they're still comedies, not good comedies, but yeah, I don't understand what the question is. I honestly don't know what you're asking me. Yeah, I guess, like, you're trying to say that it was the irony is that it just needed a good sense of irony to its name, I guess. Like, those movies had a lot more problems than trying to take itself seriously. There's way more problems with Afterlife and Frozen Empire than just lack of irony, but sure, okay. Sure. Thank you for that question, I guess. Moving on to Bill, who asks, aside from Slimer, who is your favorite ghost? I'd probably say the Boogeyman. I know that's a basic bitch answer, but the Boogeyman is a really good one. I always enjoyed the Boogeyman. Samhain, the spirit of Halloween, Samhain, as they called him. I really also liked, what was he showed back up in Extreme Ghostbusters. The Creeper, I think his name was. He tormented Kylie. I can't remember, but that was another solid ghost too. Like, that was another really cool ghost in his own right. I'm trying to think of, like, others. Like, I'm genuinely trying to think of, like, others. Those are the ones that pop up for me, if I'm being honest. Oh, and I don't know if they count, but Zool and the Keymaster. There you go. Second question: Who was your favorite Ghostbuster? Favorite Ghostbuster? If we're talking like Ghostbusters in general, it's gonna be Venkman. I don't know if it's Bill Murray's, like, ability to just be sarcastic and whatnot and just be great at it, but yeah. I would also, like, it always teeters between Venkman and Ray, because I see a lot of myself in Ray, because of, like, having all this great knowledge, but also being a dipshit at the same time, and also almost having a obsessive compulsive disorder that, like, a desire to need to know the subject I'm on, and also being a whiz at it. You might call that being autistic, and you would be right. So yeah, I do like Venkman, but, like, it's always Ray. But at the same time, there is another Ghostbuster I'm always excited to see, and that's Winston. Like, so now that I honestly think about it, I like Venkman. The more I think about it, though, it's Winston, it's Ray and Winston that are probably the ties for my favorite Ghostbusters. Now, if you want to go by others, Kylie is another favorite of mine. Yeah. Kylie and most of the original of the Extreme Ghostbusters. Anyway, third question: do you think Bruce Campbell would have made a great Ghostbuster? Absolutely, 100%. He would have made an absolutely great Ghostbuster. Yeah. So, he would have made an absolutely great Ghostbuster, and I still think he can be like an old grizzled Ghostbuster or something of that nature. So yeah. Thank you for those questions, Bill. Moving on now to Jason Voorhees 2011, who asks, what are your wishes for the upcoming animated Ghostbusters film? I keep forgetting that's happening. I think it's like a Netflix special, right? I think that's what they're doing, is like it's a Netflix special. Goddamn chair. I will say this. I just hope the animation's good. I don't know who's going to be a part of it. My wish is that it keeps a coherent story. It doesn't try to do, like, looking at you, Frozen Empire, it doesn't try to do, like, 10 different things at once. That would be very nice if we didn't have something that would just go on and on about 5 different plots, like a Fire Master, or a ghost romance that's not a romance. They chicken out at the last second. They also have like a whole thing where Slimer's in there, and you forget Finn Wolfhard's in the movie. Just keep a concise plot. Like, how about that? How about we just keep a concise plot, a tight and concise plot for the movie? Would that be so hard? And also some cool ghost designs. Second question, what were some of your favorite non-ghost villains from real Ghostbusters? Non-ghost villains. I mean, there's always Walter Peck, but I don't know if he counts as a villain. I also can't confirm if he has a dick or not. I would probably say, like, if we're going to go, like, the Jersey Devil, he's not really a ghost. There were a lot of more non-ghost monsters in, and Cthulhu. That was another one. Cthulhu and Real Ghostbusters. And that episode's actually, the Collect Call to Cthulhu, arguably one of the creepiest episodes ever. So those are just a few. Third question. Which real Ghostbusters villain would you like to have seen make a comeback in Extreme Ghostbusters? I would have liked to have seen... Did Sam Hain ever come back? I know he showed up in the intro, but he never... I don't think I ever saw an episode with him in it. The other one would be the Boogeyman. I was really hoping we would get the Boogeyman in this collection. I really did hope in Extreme Ghostbusters they bring back the Boogeyman, to terrorize Egon again, maybe make him afraid of, like, his age, and also, like, losing the Ghostbusters entirely. There could have been so many cool things they could have done with the Boogeyman's return. So I think that was a missed opportunity not to have the Boogeyman in the cartoon. So that's definitely the number one. Anyway, so thank you for those questions, Jason. Moving on now to Cyborg 19.99, who asks, do you think Jack and Maddie Fenton would be great members of the Ghostbusters? Honestly, yeah. I know everyone says Jackson just fucks up, but if I'm being honest, Jack actually would pair really well with Ray. And Maddie is an absolute beast. So those two may look like a couple of idiots, but if we're all being honest here, they would absolutely crush it. Just 100% crush it as Ghostbusters. Like, no doubt about it. Those two would absolutely kill it and be part. Like, even like the tech alone they managed to, like, put together would put the put Egon to shame. The stuff that they came up, like, again, people think Jack is an idiot, but he helps build those gadgets that can attack and harm ghosts. Egon, it takes him months to do. So I think they would be like, I know everyone makes fun of them, but, like, they would be absolutely valued members of the Ghostbusters, if I'm being honest. So thank you for that question. Second question, who is your least favorite Ghostbuster? I really don't have one. I know that's kind of a dumb thing to say, but I really don't have a least favorite Ghostbuster. There's, like, no way none of them suck. Even, like, the all-female cast of Ghostbusters, they all had, like, if it was a better script, if it was a much better script, it would have been, I don't even hate them. I do think the movie's not good. I definitely don't think the movie's good, but it's not their fault. They were just working with what they had. So, Honestly, yeah, I know everyone's going to say, "Oh, but female ghost, but I don't care. Like they're all right. They're not they're not the major problem of that film. Name of those questions, Cyborg. Moving on now to Alistair Bondman, who asks, Extreme Ghostbusters is often maligned by fans of the real Ghostbusters. Do you think they deserve, this is a deserved or overblown parts of Extreme do you like? Or I grew up with Extreme Ghostbusters first, then went back to real Ghostbusters. So I would call myself a staunch ally of real Ghostbusters. So I of Extreme Ghostbusters, so I will defend that show. And I think it has gotten a lot of popularity. And also Kylie Griffin. Need I say more? Just going to let that ring because that's another spam call. So professional on this channel, I swear. Second question. With IDW having lost the rights to publish Ghostbusters, man, I wish I believe the rights going over to Dark Horse and ignoringly basically everything of the original Ghostbusters movie after Ghostbusters Afterlife. Do you think we might ever see Kylie Griffin make an appearance? Sadly, I don't see that happening. It was really cool to see like this the IDW continuity of Ghostbusters use Kylie, even though I never got to read a lot of them. I did get to read some of it. Especially the Transformers and the Ninja Turtle, at least the first Ninja Turtle crossover. I could never get the second TMNT Ghostbusters crossover, but I digress. Anyway, so as I was saying, it sucks. They're probably not going to use it and just keep with the movies. I don't even know what they're going to do with the comics. Like it's just movie tie-ins. At least with IDW, they got imaginative. So, I don't know, do a Ghostbusters Stranger Things crossover, guys. Like, make it interesting. Do something. It's like that meme. Go on. Do something. Third question. In your fanfiction universe, the Infinityverse, I believe you mentioned you shipped Kylie with Extreme Ghostbusters with Brooklyn from Gargoyles rather than Eduardo from Extreme Ghostbusters. Wondering what inspired that ship. Yeah, the Infinityverse, the shared fanfiction universe, my good friend Jason Voorhees in 2011 and I do together. We basically had some ships there, and Kylie and Brooklyn is one of them. Yeah, the reason why we did that was mostly because Brooklyn had his own. We didn't want to intrinsically step on Greg Weisman's toes in his work, because Brooklyn does have his own family in the continuity with all that, like Katana, and he has a son and all that. Here, we just kind of wanted to do our own thing and not besmirch Greg Weisman's work. The other thing was to why not? That was the other thing. It was like a genuine thought process of why the hell not? What's to really stop us from doing otherwise, right? That was really the big thought process, if anything else. It was just a big thing of why don't we just do that? Why don't we just do that? Yeah, so that was kind of the thought process. Anyway, any of those questions, Alistair, moving on now to David Deister, who asks, if Ghostbusters 3 was made with the OG cast, what would the plot be? I know, Dan Aykroyd had a whole thing of, Ghostbusters Go to Hell, which would be cool, but sadly, since we don't have Harold Ramis anymore, that's never going to happen, and that script was supposed to be used. But if we could do that, I honestly am of the belief that I think it would have been a great I think it would have been a really great story. I think it would have been a really awesome story of them going to hell, meeting the devil, maybe even encountering all their sins. Remember to hydrate, kids. I think that would have been a really solid and a really cool story. I think that would have been my pick. Or maybe even get trapped in the ghost containment unit and see what kind of universe that's like. Although that did happen in Extreme Ghostbusters. Second question. What would a Ghostbusters Universal Monsters crossover look like? I'd probably have it be that like maybe kind of make it almost in the vein of Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein, where in this story, what happens is that Dracula is brought to New York and is uncovered by like maybe a descendant of Dr. Frankenstein who wants to like kind of do, actually no, let's make it a little more like the Frankenstein experiment ride at Dark Universe, where in there essentially what happens is that the universe, like the monsters all get captured by a descendant of Frankenstein who wants to control them and use their powers. And the Ghostbusters, and like they've been in correspondence with Egon, who is curious about them because, like, yeah, we've seen ghosts, so what's to reason? And Ray would especially be like, this kind of proves that like there's more than ghosts out there. There's like more monsters out there that we could really see. Yeah. So, and of course, I would have it that the project goes so horribly wrong. Like it just goes 180, like 100, like it just goes 180, of course. And now they have to like wrangle all the monsters. That's just kind of a loose idea. Third question: if the Ghostbusters comics were under a different publisher, who would it be? Well, right now they're under Dark Horse, which don't seem to be doing a lot with them. So I would probably have what I would probably do with a Ghostbusters comic title is probably give it maybe to Boom. I would be very curious to see what Boom Studios could do with them. Not like with crossovers and stuff, although a Power Rangers Ghostbusters crossover would be kind of cool, if I'm just saying. But I think they would handle it pretty well. I think also Skybound has been really good with IP books like Universal Monsters and, of course, the Energon universe. So I changed my answer. I'm not going to say Boom. I'm going to say Skybound. I think Skybound over at Image would be the best pick for this series. I think they would be really cool, and also like we could get. I don't know if I'd get Robert Kirkman, maybe Joshua Williamson, or actually Daniel Warren Johnson would be a Daniel Warren Johnson Ghostbusters book. Even if it's only like a limited ongoing series like his Transformers run was, I would definitely be down for that. So there you go, guys. That is pretty much, that is basically the Ghostbusters Q&A. I want to thank everyone who sent in questions. This was a lot of fun. I will be doing an announcement soon on the next Q&A subject. So, like I said, if you'd like to be part of that, just hit the link in the description box below. Head on over to my Patreon. Hit the first tier. That'll allow you access to do so. But other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.